Moving right on to Diablo 3 with Jay Wilson. The game. Jay, 10 out of 10. You were you were impressed with the costume.
Yes, I approve.
You approve. That's she's going to be up tonight. You think she has a chance to win?
That's a pretty amazing contest. I sure hope so. We took it last year.
That's true, actually. That's right.
Yeah.
So you could be returning champion. Well, Jay, welcome to the BlizzCon live stage. Kat and I are now here in the Diablo 3 world.
Yeah.
So you notice how we transitioned over to Diablo 3?
Seamlessly.
Oh, yeah. Neither of you are on fire, though.
No,
The
but the smoke will come later.
Where was the pyro? I mean, this is DirecTV. We need theatrics. Come on.
I was told someone would be on fire.
Well, maybe tomorrow. Come back.
We'll see how well the interview goes.
Well, Jay, congratulations. You guys had two big announcements this morning.
Yep.
At the opening ceremonies for the Diablo fans. And the Diablo area is actually right behind us here on the DirecTV stage. And a huge line of fans getting a chance to play the Demon Hunter, the final class.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the Demon Hunter. We're so happy with her and how she turned out. We really wanted a dark medieval class, and we wanted we knew we had to fill out kind of the ranged archetype of somebody who uses bows and crossbows and throwing weapons and things like that, but we also wanted to give somebody, I think people expected a class like that, but we wanted to make sure that it was still something really special and maybe a bit of a surprise, and we couldn't be more happy with the announcement.
So now you're done. No more classes.
Yeah, we're done. Not with the games.
Is there a sense of finality, though? Because you've been working on this game for so many years. Now you finally have all your classes set, so you can't make any changes, Jeff.
Yeah, well, we can always make changes. Like,
you can announce that class is canceled next year at BlizzCon? Probably not.
Well, we gotta have something for next year. So yeah. So right now, I'll tell you, next year we're gonna cancel one of the classes. That'll be our big announcement.
That's big news.
We'll do a video of the class being put to death.
How long ago? Let me ask you. How long ago did you know what your 5 classes were? You obviously announced the last one today, but I think we talked to you in previous years. You're like, well, we're still toying with some ideas. I mean, when did you have the final 5?
We had about 4 of them almost like 4 years ago. We knew all of them, and actually the monk was really the last one we decided. The Demon Hunter used to be more of a ranger class, and after last BlizzCon we actually did switch. And the ranger was in the game at one point, and some of the skills that are on the Demon Hunter got transferred over. Interesting.
All right, so there are some modifications. Now, was that a reaction to BlizzCon last year, or that was just...
It was more. It was a little bit more reaction from the team that the Ranger idea had been around so long, but we just felt like we could do something more. We felt like it could be a more original idea, and so we really focused. We decided that if we could get something a little bit darker, that it would be a little bit more fitting for Diablo.
Now, for people who aren't able to be here at the show and play the game, what are people playing with the Demon Hunter on the show floor?
So we've got about 8 skills for her that represent kind of the core of what she is. She's got multi-arrow, she's got bola shot, which is a ability that hits a target and like bombs wrap around the character and then explode. We've got vault, which allows her to move around really quickly. So it's a good kind of collection of skills to get an idea of how she plays, and also item sets, dual-wielding crossbows, as well as regular bows and crossbows. So you get a good feel for the character. She's definitely still fairly early. We've got a lot more skills and traits, and she doesn't have runes yet, but she's very playable.
That was actually one of the big things you were talking about earlier, was your the new systems for modifying your skills and for modifying your abilities. How much work has gone into that system?
Oh, a ton of work, and we've got so many that play, because it's such a big part of Diablo is customizing your character. So we've got skill runes, which completely change how your character works. So, you can put them into skills, and it does so much to kind of even completely change the nature of the skill. Traits, which is really more of a role-playing system as much as a customization, where you decide, I want to be a really tough barbarian, or I want to be a wizard who focuses more on elemental skills. And there's a trait for kind of each one of those different kinds of builds that you might want to do that allows you to kind of focus that character even more.
Is there going to be any limitation in customizing these builds and to bringing them into the PvP environment that you introduced today? Or are you going to be able to customize your character however you like for PvP play?
However you like. Anything that is available in PvE translates over to PvP. We do make minor changes to some skills to make them balance them, but it's mostly we try to focus all of those on not changing the nature of what the skill does. But we might say if it's okay to stun a monster for 6 seconds, it's probably not okay to stun a player for 6 seconds. So your skill would still stun, just for a shorter amount of time.
Right, and that's where you introduce more counters into PvP gameplay.
Exactly, and the counters are even even beyond that. And they allow you to design your character such that you have opportunities to break out of different things. And there's certain runes and skills that are really, while they might have function in PvE, are even designed more for PvP. Encounters are a great example of that. They're useful in PvE, but they're even more useful in PvP.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right, Jay. Well, we're going to go to Twitter now because people have questions for you.
Awesome.
Diablo 3, believe it or not. First one comes all the way from Denmark. Yes, and this one comes from Christian. And Christian says, someone has to ask this, when is the Diablo 3 beta going to be? And you're probably not going to answer, but...
Probably about 6 months before we release.
Okay. All right, well, that's fair enough.
That's an excellent plan.
So,
not this year. Right?
I answered it.
Is there any talk about just putting the small playable portions that we've seen at BlizzCon out to the public any sooner than that, or we won't see it till the beta?
No, it's really our goal to...
Nice try,
we don't want to put anything out until we're close to release.
Right.
The purpose of our betas are to make the games better. And really, the small kind of bite-sized chunks we put at BlizzCon are not really appropriate to put out as a demo because they don't represent the final product. It's a work in progress. Whereas a beta is really also put out as this is a work in progress, but at least it's advertised as such. And the goal of it is to help us make the game as good as possible.
Absolutely.
Cool.
If anything, that would delay the release of the game.
And we don't want that,
We
Jay.
don't want that.
All right, let's back to Twitter here with Luis from Brazil, who's watching you on... You bringing all the international fans. It's like Denmark, Brazil. Okay, let's get a question in from Asia right now. If you're out there, Twitter us a question. Your question is from Asia. We will ask it. This one
You're going to lie and say they're from Asia. Why'd you say that?
No, I'm going to check their profile, Kat. I got their number. Don't worry. All right, let's go to this. This is Luis. He says, will there be any class-specific quests in Diablo 3 to give you backstory or maybe a new spell? Greetings from Brazil.
We don't do class-specific questing. We talked about that for a while, and what we found was that it didn't work very well in the cooperative environment because nobody wanted to run off and do the barbarian quest. However, every quest that is done from the perspective of your character. So your character comments on things from their perspective, and also some of the quests do have elements in them where we tell you more about your specific character. Everyone does the quest, but there's actual specific poignance for, say, the barbarian when he does it.
Is there a special way that you weave the lore of each of the classes into the storyline when you start off?
Well, the first thing is to actually make sure that each class has a character to them. That each class is a real living person.
Right.
And because of that, they really come off their reaction to any particular thing that happens in the world sells who they are. And a lot of the rest of it is just making sure that we've got a lot of hooks for lore. And hooks are what we call things like lore books. Lore books are things that drop in the world that tell you deeper story about the world. And in there are lore books that are specific to each class that tell you a little bit more about the class that you're playing.
Now, what are we actually seeing PvP-wise on the show floor? We didn't talk about that. What classes are available?
Right now we have the Witch Doctor, Barbarian, and the Wizard are all playable in the arenas. Eventually every class will be playable in the arena, so all 5 and all builds and everything. And what we have now is we've just kind of, people can't make a single-player character here and everything. They don't have the time. It's a short demo. So we've kind of pre-made some characters for them to play. So they choose their class, and then they jump in and do 3v3 battles.